So Brian, 2022
Hmm.
is the year that we're talking about today.
We are, yes.
Um, you know what happened in 2022?
Are
Uh,
you looking for like a specific answer? Because I could try and think of as much
you can
things.
think of multiple answers, but I was thinking more so that uh, a mom and a dad loved each other very much, and they birthed a channel, and it was called the Warren Rascals. You're definitely the dad. I'm the
I,
mom.
I was gonna say choose the roles very carefully. So I'm gonna put this out right now, spoiler, for the 70th time on this podcast. No, from Oh yeah, that's right. I had to think about 2015 again. A From Soft game is not our game of the year. Sorry, video game nerds that are probably Elden Ring is not your game of the year. It's everyone's game of the year. No, it's not.
Brian, that's the closest that Elden Ring is to our list is the fact that Brian owns it,
That is true. I
and
asked
he
it
didn't even.
for it, and then once 2023 started, and Eric's like, "Hey Brian, I have an idea. Let's try and do our backlog." And I went, "Well, I guess Elden Ring's not going to be done for a while."
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a short due time because this video will drop first before that video
That
does.
is true. We are going to have
Um,
that discussion soon after, but
yeah,
2022 was an odd year because obviously we know how I roll. I look through all the games and looking through, and I just kind of am like, it was like, I wish I knew what year it was. Maybe it was last year, 2021,
twenty twenty two.
where and that was like a multi-layered comment where you were saying how you weren't as hot on the year as I was. I don't think 2021 was amazing, but I think I could see where you're coming from because this year was such a, oh, that game came out. Oh, okay, that game came out. Oh, that game came out. Oh, okay, that game came. Oh, like it just felt like it was so all over the place.
Right. Um, I don't know. I felt 2022 was also kind of not lackluster, but I wasn't hot on it. I'll talk about it in a second. But my runner up, literally came out at the end of the fucking year. It
It,
was my game of the year for the longest time until I played something else, which we'll talk about. But that's how I felt dry the year was the
Mhm.
fact that my favorite game to come out came out at the end of the initially, and to be fair, the other one came out closer to the end of the year too.
Uh-huh.
So it's like it was the end of the year, like nothing really stood out to me. And we'll run through the list in a second.
Yeah.
But my runner up, again, like I said, it came out at the end of the year. It's it was a new twist on something what we hadn't seen yet. Not new twist, but more like here, let's throw an IP at a tactical strategy game in a sense, but do a little spin on it as well because it's not the same version of the game they had been previously making. It's Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Said spin.
Um,
Show it. Show it. You said spin. You got to show it now. You showed it before the video.
this just came in today. Actually, this is
Armando. We're
the
not a
Mondo
sponsor.
vinyl, not sponsored. Sorry, Funko. Um, but yeah, this just came in today. I ordered it, and this looks fire. Um, but it's very um, it's a very fun game. I thought that the strategy elements were really good. Um, I felt choice of characters was very interesting to choose from because, of course, the Midnight Suns is a very unique roster. So they said, how do we get our big boys in there? So they figured out a way. It's a long ass game. It took me almost 100 hours to finish it. But I had the DLC with it, so that's why as well. Yeah, it's a fun game. Definitely check it out. It didn't perform as well as it should have, but that's also the what we call the end of the year struggle. I mean, fucking Avatar just came out and nobody's buying it on sale and things like that. Like this is Avatar, the two movies and the highest grossers of all time. Nobody's buying it. So I think it's just also December fatigue as well.
Yeah.
But that's a weird thing that happens. Anywho, we're not gonna go through the list. I'm just gonna jump into my game of the year.
You can
We
do whatever.
normally go through
Do whatever. Yeah, if you hey, choose. You can decide right now what you want.
now. Chose.
Because I'll read. I'll
Uh,
lead the list. I'm down with that sickness.
do it. Do it. Read the. This is the last time you get to do it.
Yeah, because next year we're probably gonna have to talk
Well,
about. We're probably gonna talk for legit a half an hour just on the games that came out, or for this year rather. So we again like I'm reading through this list and I'm seeing like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So like for example, Pentiment. That was kind of a game that people thought was the shit. Again, it's a niche game from Obsidian, and it's everyone thought it was really cool that are into
sounds like a city game.
yeah. Trek to Yomi, which again I hear kind of mixed things on, but it's that Akira, that Kurosawa throwback style, and I know people kind of were into it for that. The sequel to Plague Tale Requiem, which I have played, and it's
He hates it. He
well, I
despises
agree.
it.
I can understand why people kind of compare it to The Last of Us 2. It definitely has a lot of parallels to what that game was trying to do. I don't
Yep,
think
they
it's
killed the
like
character
as
in the first 10 minutes.
extreme, huh?
They killed the main character in the first 10 minutes.
No, that's not. No, that doesn't happen. And no golf was back in the plague era. But no, I could see where people are coming from with it. It's still a solid game, but I think some of the character stuff just was very like, I don't know. Speaking of, Last of Us Part One came out.
Again? That could be
Yeah, for the
here.
seventh time. For this like seventh fucking time. Everyone's favorite
And they charged you
Everyone's
70.
favorite mobile game, Diablo Immortal, came out. Everyone loves it. They think Activision is so like Blizzard and Activision, their morals are in a good place with that game.
No,
Um,
they should just live by themselves. They shouldn't be owned by anyone.
nope. Disney Dreamlight Valley, shout out to Jade. That's like her favorite thing ever.
Perfect here.
The Callisto Protocol, which everyone was hyped for, and then Josh Duhamel said, "You like those nacho fries commercials? I'm about to not give you those nacho fries commercials." And then we all were wah wah. Saints Row, the reimagining of Saints Row,
Yeah,
that is probably the actual worst game of the year. See, I usually joke about what the last game on the list, but we have to put Saints Row out there because I don't even think one of us would jokingly say that. I think that's some of the games we've joked about. I think Mass Effect Andromeda probably is insulted. They're like, hey, at least we're not Saints Row.
yeah. Uh, we were so not thrilled that we played Saints Row 2 to
Yeah,
commemorate.
we did it in honor. We're like, let's go back to when they were good. Which you could definitely watch that. Nobody Saves the World, which you could check that out because that was one of our first video series as well that came out this year. Dying Light 2, Cult of the Lamb, Sifu, Roller Drome, Return to Monkey Island, the Lego Star Wars like complete saga. I wish I beat it. I played the first movie and then I just got lazy. TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, The Quarry, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Ghostwire Tokyo, Immortality, which we were cracking up because during the Game Awards when we were like watching it together, we're like, what the fuck is this game? Like, what the fuck is it?
No, I still don't even know what it is.
And then obviously some of the big hitters, Stray, Elden Ring, Horizon
Yeah,
Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok. And then, damn it, did I fuck up and not save at least one big hitter? Oh, and the real big hitter of the year, Power Wash Simulator. There we go. Which we also did
yeah.
that too. There we go. We'll end it on an actual fun game. But okay. So I probably said one of them that well, I know what your game of the year is. So I know I said
You
it.
know, you said one of them.
Yeah,
I
come
have
on,
multiple.
boy.
No, my game of the year is probably the choice that most people picked anyway. Hmm.
I'm gonna do this for 8 minutes, like the award speech. Boy, 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 boy.
It is a game from a series that I personally am not like super attached to, but this game made me not, I wouldn't say like completely just fall in love with the series, but made me understand completely why like this, not only does this series mean a lot to people, but also the fact that, I fully understand these characters now with only playing 3 games in the series technically. We're talking about God of War Ragnarok, baby. So going into it, I'd already played 2018, and I like 2018 a lot. I think that 2018 has a very compelling story with very interesting characters. I felt that the combat was just not that it was like lacking, but the change, because I've only played 3 before 18, because that was the only one that was remastered for the PlayStation 4, even though they had already remastered the first 3 games for the PS3. But fuck it, I guess. I don't know. The only one that matters is 3. But I had played 3, and I really liked the action in that. I think that's probably one of the best hack and slash games to come out. This is a Maylene leg.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of leg in 3. That's the segue.
At this point, when the first one, when they, that big reveal, it was weird because like the first thing I noticed is I'm like, oh, like we're doing this like kind of right on his back third person action. Because yeah, the God of War games are about the scope, and it's always Kratos is huge, but like he's always like here, and his
Yeah,
like blades
he's
of chaos
jumping.
are all on the screen, and everyone's everywhere, and it's just craziness. And that's kind of the appeal of those games, like you said, is it's a hack and slash, and the mythos is really strong. But then when Corey kind of switched that up for this new one, this new, duo, these 2 games, he's like, I mean, it's corny to do the whole, well, he brought it closer and the story, but it's true. Like he made it so much more grounded while still feeling grand and epic, but it feels the same. It just doesn't look the same.
Right. And it was very interesting when they end 2018 ended, and it ends with, Kratos seeing the premonition written on the wall, because what's written on the wall is supposed to come true. That, Atreus is Loki, which was not like a big deal, but it was very interesting to think of that they're like, okay, so did him and his wife steal Loki from Asgard or something, or from the because she's a frost giant.
Mhm.
Did like how did they make Loki? I mean, of course, Kratos is a god, so his god abilities would pass down, which would make more sense for Loki instead of like going back to like the MCU thing where like he's a frost giant at heart, but he was raised by gods. He has these abilities because fuck it, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense in that aspect of things. But I mean, it would make more sense in this aspect because again, Kratos, is a god and at least fucked someone to be more of a god. But they explain that also that the frost giants are like completely extinct in a sense. You don't see them anymore. So having Atreus being this baby frost giant, it is what it is. But the premonition of him, killing Kratos at the end of it, and we're all like, well, fuck, I guess we're finally at least ending God of War in the next game. Spoiler alert, you don't. But that's, you already know it because by the time this video is coming out, Valhalla's already been fucking released. So that this takes place after the game. So that Kratos is fine. But I won't talk about too much of that. There will be the Valhalla gameplay, but like there's not really like spoilers going into like the actual like main game, because that's all we had at this time. Before, like, I had made the decision that this was my game of year before even Valhalla released, so that's besides the point. I'm basing this just on the main game experience. I felt that they fixed what my issues with the combat were, and I think that's probably because, spoiler alert for 2018, you get the boss again because Kratos put those away because he didn't want to think of his past.
Mhm.
But you immediately get those out of the gate, and I think the switcheroo, as I like to call it, of using the axe and using the blades of chaos to make these combos in essence of what the original games were like, where you try to pull off these sick, like, stupid combos, works super well with going between the two, using the shield for blocking, um and also just aerial combat. Again, they basically took what they had in 3 and made it that close encounter, in a sense, where I feel like you get that big grand aspect is just now shrunken in. I think they finally got that right in this game. I felt that the way that Atreus is used as like as your secondary character worked well. I also, and again, I talked to you a little bit about this because you were a little annoyed about it. The Atreus sections, you do get to play as Atreus, as like a main character. This is his and Kratos' story at the end of the day. They were doing this with 2018, but the one shot style, as we like to call it, where everything looks like it's shot all in one sequence, like how some films like to do it. I thought that was, I think that was presented better in this game. I love their decisions they did with the Norse gods. I felt that Thor is an interesting character. I love his design. A lot of people had some backlash about Thor's design because he doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth, but he looks more like he does in Norse mythology. I felt Odin. I thought his design, it was really cool. I also love his personality in this game. The idea, that Odin is watching at all times. He's doing this. He is the all-seeing Odin. And he just knows everything, and he always has a plan. And fuck it, he is meticulous. He is condescending. He's deceiving, but he fucking plays up the I'm gonna help you out, Atreus. You always are welcome in Asgard. I'm the real dad. You always. We talked about a little bit with the Baldur fight in 2018, like the introduction Baldur fight, how they made that grand aspect and things like that. I think that was better executed in this game. The Thor fight at the beginning of this game, I thought, was better executed because it was like, it's not that you didn't stand a chance against Thor, because you see his health bar go down, whereas Baldur, you don't see that. It just felt like your impact, I guess, it felt harder and heavier because of just the stature of Thor. I like that. I felt the boss fights in this game were definitely more pronounced. There is one in particular I don't want to get into, Brian. It is so fucking good. It's a specific character that you haven't met yet. He's a complete asshole and prick, and he's written so well. And his boss fight, though, basically take the idea of like Baldur, how like you couldn't do any damage to Baldur. It's this character, but you have to figure out the way to get him. You met Tyr. I think Tyr's a very interesting character in this game.
I agree.
I think the choices that I make with Tyr, though, I don't want to talk about those with you yet, because you're gonna be like, oh, okay, but you're gonna be like, oh fuck, I like that. I think both the dwarves, Sindri and what's his name? What's his brother's name? Rock. I think they're excellent. In the first game, you're like your merchants, and like you meet them and they interact with you and things like that. They actually have like plot development in this game.
They do. They're like the key. Honestly, I think they're kind of the main people that get the game going. Like when everything kind of fucking happens at the beginning, they're the ones that like spring the plot. And I think last game, I'm not saying it's bad. Like I want people to know, I think it was a good use. I could definitely feel like in this game, the comedic or the more wholesome moments, it feels so much more intertwined with everything. It's not that the first game, again, the reboot, that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just, I think in the first game, it's like when they first show up, you kind of go, I know, like, I get it. but then you get used to it and it fits. Whereas this, it feels like everything is woven so beautifully. Where I think the funny, and I think a lot of it is because Kratos as a character is much different. He's still an asshole and he still has that, but it's not like the first game. It's literally like you just feel depressed some of the time because he's so overbearing. This game feels so much better with all of those elements.
Great fucking game. Kratos has some really good, like, not zingers, but like he'll say something and you'd be like, that's actually fucking funny.
Yeah, like he
Uh,
actually has so much more personality in this game because he is showing a little more emotion, but his emotion is still, I have no emotion, but I'm being a
yeah.
smart ass.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna try to like bring this on whole because I don't want to go on for too much because I'll just ramble. Between the two, again, I prefer this one more. And I actually, I went and I beat everything. I went through and I found all the extra objectives, the secret, not the secret bosses, but like this all the side quests I did. I
Mhm.
did all that and I got like what I like to call it's not the true ending, but it's like it's the epilogue, and I made that like the conclusion, and that's when I got my platinum, and I felt like that was perfect. I did everything. It felt like once I did what the epilogue is requiring, I felt that settled it perfectly of what everything was. Um, but of course, you could just play afterwards because if you need to complete any objectives, you're more than welcome to. And they have new game plus and things like that. And now Valhalla's out, so you have more stuff to go on. I just think it was a steady conclusion. I felt that the choices that were made were very strong. I felt that um, the characters have purpose. They have their reasons why. They, you know, they grow, they learn, they experience. Uh, of course, they develop their bond stronger. Um, and you know, again, this is Atreus and Kratos' story. At the end of the day, it is not Kratos with Atreus. It is Kratos and Atreus' story. It is not just about Kratos anymore, which I do like. Now, at the end of the day, every Valhalla is more of a Kratos story at the end of the day because it's more looking back into the Greek mythology stuff as well as going forward. And who knows what they're going to do in the future. I'm excited. I hope it's like a tactical RPG they do next. Brian would love that.
Maybe it's going to be a first person action game because they started here and then they went to here, and now you're going to be in Kratos.
No, it's going to be it's second person. They're going to figure out a way to make it second person.
Yeah,
We've talked about the idea of second person games.
that's wild.
Um, but overall, I think it is a excellent game. It's definitely I'm glad that it came with my PS5 because I'm not saying I wouldn't have bought it anyway. But when I got my PS5, it was the game at the time that was going with it. Now, of course, you get Spider Man, and well, Spider Man we'll talk about maybe next year.
Well,
We'll
we
see.
will, no matter what. If it's one of our game of the years or not, we're still going to talk about it. My runner-ups. He knows
That's
one of them. He knows one of them. Power Wash Simulator, one of the greatest games of all time. You think I'm lying. You're probably like, what? And I sit here going, no, I'm not. This game is the shit. It's the most calming thing ever. I love it. It was so fun to 100% it. Fucking love it. My other runner-up, which was one Erik guessed, but then I initially was like, no. And then when I was sitting here going through all the games, I'm like, this game I was obsessed with, and I'm glad Erik introduced it to me. Nobody Saves the World. That game is awesome. I love it. It's all the classes are great, and just the world is awesome, and all the little things you can do, and just the comedy. What's that?
Brian likes an RPG.
Hey, I'm that game I remember because we ended up changing the rules for multi-parts after that. We're like, no, we need it to be a game neither of us have played, but I was so happy we played it because I'm like, this is awesome. Um, but game of the year is probably one of the
Funny.
greatest things ever invented in general. Like,
Funny.
huh,
All three of these games that you're mentioning can all be linked back to our channel.
it's true. That is true. I mean, my game of the year though from 2022 is like these games are fucking crumbs compared to this. Like this is legitimately this game should be hung in the Louvre.
It
It's a
should be hung.
game, but I don't know how. Just like print out a really shitty picture of like the artwork and then just put it in the Louvre, and it will be hotter than the Mona Lisa, look wise and popularity. Vampire Survivors. So that's it, everybody. Toodaloo.
Let's
What
get
do
it.
you want? Like, okay, what do you want me to fucking talk about with this game? There's not much to talk about. It's
Talk
just the
about
fucking best.
why is it the best?
Okay. So in
This is
gaming,
all play.
so we have two. You were talking about God of War Ragnarok, and you brought up the new thing Valhalla. And the new thing God of War Valhalla, or the thing that God of War Valhalla is one of two terms that we now use in the gaming sphere that has changed the gaming sphere: Souls-like and roguelike. Those are the two terms that I think every game could be, almost every big game. Nerds like us want to be like, it's a roguelike game with RPG elements, or it's a Souls game, but like it has Pinocchio. That is the two genres. That's the two fucking buzzword phrases that we like to use now in the gaming industry to describe a game. And when I introduced this game to Erik, like I heard so much about it. I just heard everyone say it is the greatest fucking thing. So of course I'm like, listen, I know how that feeling is when someone's like, listen, this is the shit, play it. But I never heard so many people sound like, because obviously people were making, like, they were joking in a way, but the way they were talking about it made me go, there must be something about it that's like gleeful or addicting. You need to know two things. You move with the left stick and you press the A button to upgrade. Oh, do I like shoot anything or no? Do I use an action command to use this? No. You walk, you choose upgrades. Those are the two things you fucking do. In Hades, you have to do all sorts of crazy shit. In this, you walk, you make actions. That's all you do. That's all you do. You start this game, you're all confused. You're like, okay, what the hell is this? Basic concept. Start off as one class, which you learn that you can unlock more, and it kind of becomes, interesting to change classes up. You start as a class, and you just have the greatest music playing. You're like, okay, it's a little 8-bit, cool, cool. And all these guys start forming on the screen. They're all coming
Where's
for
the soundtrack, Mondo?
Yeah, come on, get on that shit. Or I am 8-bit. Come on now. One day you'll sponsor us and we'll just throw random fucking games to put on vinyl and then you'll just do it. Um, so you're just playing and you're killing people. So you're walking, you're going in the direction of whatever you have, a sword, a whip, a magic wand. And then you level up. And this is when the game starts to be oh, okay, I see what I'm doing. You start to build your character. There's two different kinds of upgrades you do. You have weapon upgrades, which is like you can either upgrade the current weapons you have or you can get a new one. So again, you can either have a sword you throw out, you can have a whip. There's one called a King Bible, which is honestly one of my favorites, where it's a Bible that just kind of circles around you. The more you upgrade it, you get more Bible. Smack the shit out of someone with a Bible. Isn't that what we all want to do? And it basically circles around you, so you have a radius around you to where you don't get damage. The speed increases, you get more circling around you, all that. And there's like booster upgrades, so you get like extra luck to where maybe you get certain upgrades quicker. You can do like the range of your attacks, extra health, extra like loading of your health, extra speed, all that sort of stuff. And then you get to a point where you start to see, oh, combine with, okay. And then you combine certain ones. And then you get to a point where you beat like kind of a bigger boss and it drops a chest out of its asshole. You either get one upgrade, 3 upgrades, or 5 upgrades on a great day. These could be random. It could be like you can either get just extra upgrades for one thing, or if you have 9 of a weapon and a complete fully like luck, for example, you will have a brand new version of your weapon, which is like the elite weapon. So for the King Bible, the moment you upgrade it fully, it goes away, and then it forms this like evil red circle that just spins around you. You think it's holy. No, we become fucking 666, hail Satan in this bitch. And it circles around you. It doesn't stop. It goes super fast, and it's like extra damage. Awesome. That's cool. Every weapon has that. And that's part of what becomes your first playthrough. So obviously you don't make it through your first playthrough. You're picking up gold, you're picking up these upgrades. You're like, okay, I'm finding combinations of stuff. I'm seeing, okay, so what do I do? As you level up, as you get more coins, you can either buy new characters, which have different starting abilities, or like in something like Hades, you have a start menu upgrade tree where you go in and you see like, oh, I always start with extra, like 10% extra health. Cool, buy that. Oh, 20%, buy that. As you play more games, you get more gold. You can upgrade all that. So by the time you fully upgrade them, every time you start a game, you can be level 1. You could be going fast. You have a good amount of health. You're already not just using like one whip. It's like a double whip with extra damage, right? So you're starting strong. Then you unlock new maps. Then you unlock new challenges. Then you unlock new kind of secrets where, oh, I can unlock a map. I can unlock where secrets are on a map. I can unlock a mode where it goes past 30 minutes. Because if you make it to 30 minutes, congratulations. But then you get fucked in the ass at the very last second at like 30 minutes, unless you have some good upgrades where you can make it like that 15 seconds where you keep reviving yourself. Um, and then the game just becomes a life of its own of like, what, like, okay, what do I do now? So this game has a lot of interesting things that you can learn from. There's very basic things you can discover. So like the secrets on a map, achievements, what have you. The second kind is like these weird little secrets that you see in your codex, like a certain enemy type, or unlocking a mode where again it's like inverted mode where things are more difficult. Then you get kind of these weird challenges that you find where if you're watching the footage right now, I don't know why I said it like that. If you're I'm listening and not watching. If you're watching the footage, you're seeing the character that I'm playing as. Literally, the moment it starts, he is slowly shooting swords, like 5 at a time. This is our weird secret character that you can unlock. And this is the character that I use to like completely 100% of the game to get like the billion kills in one playthrough and all that shit. And get all the final characters. And so you have stuff like that where it makes you go back and go, I want to get these weird characters that are like odd and bizarre and like go through or find the vampires on the map. Again, you're like vampire survivors. What? It's just it's a roguelike and you just kind of walk around and you find weird little secrets. And again, it's bizarre because again, I start playing it and after that first playthrough, I go, oh, okay. That's weird. Like I was like, I wasn't expecting this. But this game legit becomes addicting. Like Hades, I really like and I really enjoy. And once you get to the end of it, you're kind of doing that, oh my God, okay. So now it's like you just keep going, keep going. But there's such a simplicity to this game. You know, again, you start it and it just feels like every playthrough, you're like, fuck it, what do I do now? Where do I go? That first menu pops up and you just go, I'm gonna buy the garlic this time. I'm gonna buy the lightning strike, the water, all that. Like, or you know, King Bible, the whip, the sword. You're just like, I'm just gonna pick and just go with it and just seeing all the combinations of stuff that you can do and just building on top of that. And again, all the secrets you find, and I feel like all of the maps are very unique and distinct. Like some of them, um, some of them feel more big. So like the very starting map, it feels like you can kind of just go wherever. Whereas the second map, you can only go left and right. You're in like a library and you're just kind of like, okay, this is interesting. And it's like, I feel like a lot of times you have to kind of find your rhythm too, because some of these maps, like in the second map, for example, you'll get claustrophobic very quick, especially early on, because you're like, I don't have a good character. Fuck, what's happening? And then the moment, like, I remember seeing I was on Snap recently and I saw a video you sent of you getting the million kills and just seeing the epileptic seizure you could have fucking watching the screen of all this shit going everywhere and you don't even have to move. You just sit and you're like, okay, well, I'm just waiting for all these people to die so I can get the million people. It's just, it's so much fun. It's so simple and yet it's so deep and complex. And it's the fact this fucking game is getting a TV show. How? How?
Be,
How?
be fucking drawn. It better
Like,
be fucking poorly acted. It's just text.
this game is just one of those things where we talk about games that are like, again, movie games, or we talk about games that are fully games. And then there's just those games where, like, again, I know Erik really likes roguelike games. I know they're a thing that he's really into, and there's really great variations. Well, see, I thought you are. Is it just because the ones you like so much are so good and they just
That's the
happen to
thing.
be roguelike?
Like, they're really fucking good, but like
Okay.
there's games like Enter the Gungeon that I just like. I'm not a fan. Or like I'm trying to think of like other roguelike. You have to make what you're doing in the game appealing, or something like Hades. Hades is very much so. Not only does the gameplay satisfy you, but the characters and everything you go with that with the story is very interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas something, again, going back to like Enter the Gungeon, I'm sure like Binding of Isaac has always been interesting to me, but that's hard as shit, is what I hear, because it's the Super Meat Boy fucking dude. So of course it's gonna be hard as shit. But I mean, that art style and aesthetic is cool, but I don't know if I've ever play it. But
Well,
you have
and
to be.
like I know two of your like favorites, I would say, is like what, like an Inscription and Hades. And like you said it best, where Hades is the storytelling's really good. And honestly, if the storytelling wasn't in it, I think the game would still be fine because even if it's not deep, it's the gameplay still is great and you can hang your hat on that. Inscription is a unique
A
concept.
fucking card
Yeah, it's a
game.
card game. And like Vampire Survivors basically takes what Hades is and goes, let's just make it so, like, it's so crazy to me how simple and ridiculous this game is. And yet when you really start playing it, you're like, oh, I gotta go buy extra health. Let me see how many coins. Oh shit, there's a secret on here. I gotta go get. Oh fuck, I just died. Okay, well, I'm gonna buy this new. Like, it's still so complex, and it's so like it feels like a joke. And the gameplay and the mechanics of it are so well done. It's like why people like Minecraft, because the whole thing is you go into Minecraft and you go, oh, the game looks like this. Oh, well, it better be good. And then you just get sucked in and it's just so inventive. And you're like, I could be in this game forever. Vampire
Like,
Survivors is the same way. They basically sit you down and go, we're going to make a game with 8-bit graphics, with an 8-bit soundtrack, and a game where you move your character and press A to like get things. And we're still going to make a deep, engaging game with so many mechanics and systems with multiple maps. And best part, every fucking update besides one, because I know they did like a map pack, but that was $2 fucking dollars. Every update is free. All these new characters they add, these new maps. It has co-op now, which is crazy to me. Like, it's all free. And this game is
that's
like,
waiting to happen.
other than my rant, do you feel like I satisfied the one of the greatest things, not just games, one of the greatest things of all time from my discussion?
Um, I give it a solid B.
I remember when I talked to Erik while he was deep into it, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm playing Vampire Survivors," and like he like kind of hit me with like a backhanded compliment because I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you're," and he goes, "Well, it's really good, but I just want to beat it," and I was like, "Wow." You're like, well, I have it, so I'm gonna play it.
And then I never touched it again.
Playing it again for the footage was so much fun, and it made me see like, and I saw all the new updates and stuff, and I was getting new achievements, and I'm like, oh man, now I have to play to like see all the new little things they have.
You're just waiting until you get like the perfect run, and then you're just gonna leave your system and say, "Okay,
I
let's
retire.
get the world."
Yeah, I think it's done. Like I don't like it's kind of shitty because this is one of those things where I'm like, there should be no like Hades 2, I get because there's story and it's gonna, it's gonna go somewhere. There should be no Vampire Survivors 2. It's done. So what I believe Luca, I believe is the man's name. Literally his name is Luca Galante. He is the developer, the publisher, and the programmer of this. Oh, and the writer. He is the one man show. Well, he's had other people work with him on it, but like this is my thing. He should just take another he should do a Souls like everyone makes the joke about Bloodborne on like a PS1. He should just do a Souls like game and do the same thing where he just makes it so shitty looking and then you start playing it and you go, "Holy fuck, this was difficult." And then he'll make like $70 billion and everyone will talk about how fucking great it is.
Anywho, I'm glad you got that out of your system. I'm glad you
This
finally.
game is so great. And like honestly, I don't know what's going on with PlayStation, but like pay this man money to get it on your system because this shit's the bomb. Like
The Switch, it's mobile.
it's on the Switch. I hear playing it on the Switch and playing it on Steam Deck are like perfect. Like it runs so perfectly and it looks great. And it's just having it in the like you don't need an Xbox or like you playing it on a handheld is perfectly fine. Like it works perfectly fine. Um and it's gonna hook you in. Like this is one of the few games in a long time where I remember playing it and being like Nobody Saves the World is like that. I played Vampire Survivors 30, 40 hours. And like I would just put it on. And once I got tired of the music, I would just put on a podcast or a YouTube video and I would just go through my runs, be like, okay, cool, boom, new video, click, okay, new run, boom, boom, boom.
Anywho, what was your favorite game of 2022? Let us know in the comments down below. Do you think that Brian is correct that Vampire Survivors is one of the greatest just things? Please let us know. If you haven't checked it out already, if you want more talk of Vampire Survivors and more beginner guide, as I like to call it, check out our Take a Look at This on it. It's a very good video. A lot of people liked it, and I had a lot of fun because I edited that video.
That is true. Like, comments, subscribe,
Please, well, it
Eric.
helps us. So Brian, all right, we're gonna get this 2023 done by the end of this month. Let's finish that up. You know, we finally did it. We're at the end. 2023, end of this year, baby. Psych.
Yeah, that will be coming out at the end of January. We don't know what our game of the years are for each other. This is the first year we're gonna go in blind for each other. Like we don't know.
I am conflicted between two games right now. I
Okay.
will tell you that. So I have a game of the year and I have a decision on a runner up. I just don't know which one's which. So I
Okay.
will tell you that. I have
I
my two
would
games.
say it's funny. I think
But
I'm you, but the main disagreement is I think I've agreed, and I think I'm strong on well, who's to say that it's only going to be one of each? Because I mean, you guys are all you guys, gals, non-binaries. You're gonna see this year, next year, whenever this fucking thing comes out. It's gonna probably be our longest, but it's because for the first 45 minutes, we're just gonna talk about how great 2023 was.
trust me, I have this brilliant idea that's probably going to be weird in execution, but it's going to be great because the 2023 there is a lot to talk about, good and bad, because not everything was perfect this year.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo, folks.